Hello. This is Mike Meyers. Yeah, if you're listening, you're probably trying to figure out who is this guy. This is the absolutely most handsome host, Austin. Can you agree with this, Mama Michelle? Thank you. Most handsome host Austin's going to have all week long. So I went and got my hair fixed. I am ready for today, and it's great. I get to fill in for the vacationing Austin Rhodes. I mean, who would not be? I am sure everybody in Augusta is right now sitting there next to their radio, been waiting all week,
edge of their seats
waiting all week to hear me come on. Mike Meyers filling in for the vacation. Austin Rhodes on the Austin Rhodes Show. Austin, if you're out there listening, each time I come, this chair gets a little bit more comfortable. I have officially pushed your Pittsburgh Steelers chair into the hallway. It is down the hall, and I am doing everything I can. Matter of fact, one of my guests has brought his roll-off dumpster with him so that I can definitely have somewhere for this Pittsburgh Steelers chair to go. But listen, Mike Meyers filling in for vacation, Austin Rhodes, and I am excited because I have two guests that are for the first part of the show. Now listen. Let me make sure I say this. If you stick around, 4:30 part of the show, 4 o'clock, after 4 o'clock, let me just say after 4 o'clock. After 4 o'clock, it's going to get hot. I got two guests that are as far apart from each other than anybody in the whole city of Augusta, and they're going to be in here with me to talk politics. So you make sure you stick around. I'm not going to say who they are yet, but make sure you stick around because that's going to be interesting. And if I've already called Columbia County just to be on standby outside. But right now, the two guests I have in the studio, I can't even call them friends. They are family. Have known them forever, and both of them have gone out and got their business going. And I had to get them in because we talk often as it relates to business. And I've done everything I can to be helpful. They've done everything they can to be helpful with me. We're all entrepreneurs in our own right, but I have two wonderful people. Now I have to tell you, they're not as handsome as I am.
Agreed.
But they are. I mean, but I love them anyway. But I'm gonna let them introduce themselves and their company, and we're gonna dive into some great conversation about family and business and how does it start and where do we go and how you can be supportive right here in Augusta, because what both of them do, everybody in the CSRA needs, without a doubt. I can guarantee you, and they're going to make sure that you know how to get in contact with them. But let my guests introduce themselves. We're going to go. We're going to age to beauty, or how you want to? I mean, what?
I think I went on both of those counts.
Age and beauty.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So where you make up for the beauty and the baldness, we make up for in the beard.
The beard.
The beardness.
I had the beard gang in here with me today. How about that?
That's right.
Introduce yourself.
So I'm Chase Cullinan, and I'm the owner of River Region Rentals, a dumpster and trailer rental business here in Augusta's River Region. So started the business about 3 years ago, and just recently in the last month transitioned to full time. And with us, I've got my father, Patrick Cullinan. He and my mom own Georgia Hat Company. And we both have worked our careers in law enforcement, and just recently, more so for me than him, transitioned out of law enforcement full-time into business full-time.
And I want people to understand, listen, I know people out there saying, wait, I know that voice, I know that name, I know these names, and Pops, you got to speak to people hear the names and say, wait a minute, is that Jason? Who are you?
Well, I hope that's a good thing.
That is.
And thank you so much for having us today, Michael. It's an honor to be able to come spend an hour with you. And,
Absolutely. Pleasure's mine.
You are family, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So I am Patrick Cullinan. I'm Chase's father. And a lot of people do know our name, the Cullinan name, because of our public service in this community for so many years.
Yeah.
My father, Chase's grandfather, started with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office in 1970 and was there for many years before he transitioned and ended up retiring from Columbia County Sheriff's Office. And then, I've decided when I don't know if you know this about me, Michael. I actually got my start before law enforcement and EMS and worked for University Hospital Ambulance Service.
Wow.
And the Richmond County Fire Department. So you and I have a lot of that in common.
Absolutely.
You've worked for both as well.
That's how he knows everybody at
That's how he knows he knows
and-
everybody everywhere. And
Right.
everybody knows him.
And I think it's because of my, career in EMS and fire, and then transitioning over to law enforcement. And I am proud to say, that Chase decided he would follow in his grandfather and his father's footsteps and got into law enforcement. And we were the first family in Richmond County history to have 3 generations work for the Richmond County Sheriff's Office.
Wow.
Many of 2 generations, but we were the first with 3 generations. So my dad, his grandfather, myself, and Chase, all Richmond County deputies. And since then, Chase, at that point, transitioned over to the Georgia State Patrol. And then I transitioned over to the Police Benevolent Association, where that is currently my full-time job now.
Got you. And so you're still heavily involved in community. I mean, we're gonna get to the business side, but I
Yep.
want people to understand that there's a level of community that drives you. That
Yes.
part, even where we are now with business, it's a level of community that drives you. And you left from actually being on the street to supporting law enforcement in a different way.
Yes, and so my full-time job now is to help law enforcement officers in the aftermath of critical incidents and crisis. That can be a crisis in law enforcement can be anywhere from, an officer that's had a serious disciplinary action, a termination, an officer-involved shooting. I mean, there's just all these different things. It could be just cumulative stuff that officers deal with. That goes in the fire service, EMS service. You've been around it for so many years.
That's right.
You just, the men and women are putting all this stuff in the bucket, and eventually, if they're not doing something, it's going to overflow. And so I'm very, very fortunate and grateful to have the opportunity to use my experience over the years to help these men and women.
Right, and back into this community, here you are, your dad did it, you did it, and now here comes Chase, and he decides he wants to be the police, man. What the Popo, man? What's going on? What made you even do that from the beginning?
So the last time I did the math, cumulatively between the 3 of us, we got 80 years.
Wow.
So I graduated from AU in 2013 and got my undergrad in criminal justice and sociology. I dual majored. And not long after that, I'd been working in the restaurant industry, and I decided I wanted to get into something that would serve me later on. And I was going a different route initially, but I ended up applying at the jail, and I figured that would be something that I could just use as some getting started experience on my resume. And about 6 months into that, they started asking for applicants to go to the police academy, put in for that, did well, got accepted, wound up at the police academy, enjoyed it, and saw that it was a lot of fun and a lot of good, and wound up there. And here we are 11 years later, and I've got 11 years under my belt, 4 with Richmond and 7 with GSP.
Right. And, and Georgia State Patrol, I mean, they are to me, the cream of the crop. They are the top what you have, when it comes to being here in Georgia. And it took you did this route, but you were here as a deputy.
Yeah.
But what made you want what inside of you made you want to become a state patrol?
The exact same thing you described. As a deputy, I saw these guys and gals out here working the streets, and I just saw that there was an obvious level of high caliber and professionalism and discipline, and I admired that, and I wanted to emulate that. And I said, hey, if they can do it, so can I.
Yeah, so here we are, and now we have what I refer to, Georgia State Patrol. They are the tuxedo edition as it relates to policing, and you've translated that into what is now to me, because I see these containers, and I see all these other raggedy containers, other places, and stuff that looks like I wouldn't want to have, nowhere, and you've moved that tucked in look, that straight up and down to what is now River Region Rentals. I mean, what made you dive into that? I mean, like, of all things, that.
So my wife and I used to walk fairly often, and we still do, but in the beginning, we would see dumpsters and roll-off containers and things around the neighborhood and at construction projects and things like that. And I just had the wild idea that's got to be a pretty good business model. I mean, it's a metal box. It's got no wheels, tires, transmission, motor, oil, anything like that. Boy, was I wrong. I've learned a lot in the last 3 years. But I was like, man, that's got to be a good little side hustle. So I started the trailer rental business because I didn't have the time working full time to be able to run to the dump, to drop these containers or dump trailers and things like that. So I started with one car hauler 3 years ago. And the idea there was that it was less time consuming. And after almost 3 years in, I decided to get into the dumpsters and get out of law enforcement. And becoming a father really changed my perspective. We'll talk about that more later, but that's just kind of one of the things that led me to my perspective shift.
Yeah, and here's your dad who dived into being an entrepreneur, and who right before, basically, I didn't say right before you, but kind of right before you. And Dad, Pops, what was your thought process now that he's wanting to stop law enforcement and go out on his own?
I was very excited to learn that he wanted to follow in mine and his grandfather's footsteps. But just like with him saying, things change when you're a dad. Things changed when I knew that my wife and our baby boy was out there and on the street.
Right.
And it's just like, I'll never forget when the riots really kicked off in Atlanta. He called and he said, I've just been deployed to Atlanta. And I'm watching the news. And lo and behold, I see him on national news in the middle of the riots. And I'm like, I'm ready to go rescue.
CNN Center.
Right. I'm ready to go rescue the baby and bring him home.
Right. So listen. We're getting ready to go to a break. Those people that have questions, you can call. You can text those questions in 706-863-5800, 706-863-5800. Listen, we're going to get into this conversation because I really want people to understand, because it's more than just a dumpster company, more than just a hat company. This is a family institution, and that's really dug into what we have here in this community, and it plays a part in what we all want to do and have. Mike Meyers filling in for the vacation. Austin Rhodes on the Austin Rhodes Show. We'll be back right after this break. We're back. Mike Meyers filling in for the vacation. Austin Rhodes on the Austin Rhodes Show with my two guests that are in here: Georgia Hat Company, River Region Rentals. And I'm excited to have them. And, we're going to get into how people can find you. And then we're going to go back to the second half of our show because we don't have very much time here. So let me do this first. What do you offer, Chase, and how can people find you?
So I've got dumpster and trailer rentals specifically with roll-off containers and car hauler trailers. And we're on Facebook and Instagram at River Region Rentals LLC. Working on a website. It is not live yet. My guys at Hypertech Solutions here locally are building my website.
That's awesome.
Once photography and everything's done, the website will go live. The website will be riverregion.rentals once it's live. It's just not ready yet. Facebook and Instagram, Google Maps. We just celebrated 50 5-star reviews on Google.
Wow.
And with the help of some close friends and family, we've grown the Facebook following recently. I don't know if you want to.
It was sick how fast it went, man.
So we in 3 weeks we tripled our Facebook followers. A couple shout outs, a couple shares. I would say my first one was the 31st of May, and we were at like 416, and now I think we're at 1,200 or so.
Wow.
You shared a couple times.
Yeah.
The Metro Courier shared, and in a week we broke 1,000.
Yeah, that's wild. But it shows that people have this trust and know the name. They know that it, the history that goes with that, and that's a good thing. People are excited to be helpful to people that are good people. And people can find you. Georgia Hat Company. I see all these wonderful hats out here. I got on my Georgia Hat Company hat now. But how can people find you? And what do you offer? Because it's more than just hats.
Yep, no. So we can be found at georgiahatcompany.com, or if you want to break it down, gahatco.com. We do mainly our brand, Georgia Hat Company, and we sell online. That's where the meat and potatoes of all of our sales come from. But we set up at like the Evans Market every Saturday. It just completed the one for the summer, and it will pick back up in September. But we're at a lot of different festivals in the mountains this summer. We'll be in Royston, Georgia at the Freedom Celebration this weekend. So we're out and about all over the place, but again, it's a family-owned business. It's my wife. My wife is the CEO, the CFO, the COO. I'm just the seamstress that sews the patches on. But I am proud to say that we do everything in-house at our barn in Appling. We do all the decorating. We make the patches, sew them on the hats. My wife does all the embroidery work. And so when you do get one of our products, we've had our hands on it to bring it to you.
Got you. So what is your most famous hat? Like what's the one that everybody wants?
The one that you're wearing is probably our number one selling hat, and the one that says GA Hat Co. In God We Trust, and has the American flag on the side. And that was something we were walking out of Home Depot one night, and that's my license plate on our pickup truck. And my wife said, "I think that would look fantastic on a hat. We need to make a patch and have you sew them on." And lo and behold, just a conversation walking out of the Home Depot turned into our number one selling hat.
Got you. And what's some of the ones that people like to get also?
Well, the whole company was born off of a hat that I did for me and friends in recovery, and it's Rule 62. And in the recovery community, Rule 62 means don't take yourself too seriously. And I think whether you're in recovery or not, I think we all should live by that. Don't take yourself too seriously. And so it all started there, and it wasn't a plan to be a business. It just ended up developing into a business because word got out across the nation, and we were getting people asking us as far away as California for these Rule 62 hats.
And don't forget, it started with our grandma sewing them on for him and trying to teach him how to sew. And now that their barn in Applin is where the base of Georgia Hat Company, GHCHQ as we call it, it's hot up there. And basically, he told me I need to come learn to sew so that I can start sweating. And Grandma really started it, and then taught him how to do it, and that's how he got his start.
Listen, I love that. I love that story, and I love the hat. What's the I now? That can mean so many different things depending on where you are.
Depends on the context.
Depending on the context. Listen, Mike Meyers filling in for the vacationing Austin Rhodes and the Austin Rhodes Show. This is our long break. We're gonna come back and we're gonna get into some more conversation with these two guys, the Cullinan guys, Georgia Hat Company, River Region Rentals. We'll be back right after this break. We're back. Mike Meyers filling in for the vacationing Austin Rhodes on the Austin Rhodes Show. And I got two family members here with me, Chase and Pat. They're in here. We're talking family. We're talking business. We're talking community and, with their storied past in reference to law enforcement and being just about community people. We were having a bit of an off radio conversation, and we are talking about, getting into this and how it started. But, it's funny how, we've always somewhat known each other, but not really known each other, so to speak, a long time ago. But Chase and I met when he was a state trooper. And, I'm going to tell
blue lights on you?
Yeah, with the blue lights on me. Can you imagine that?
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. And he pulled me over for, the Popo. They pulled you over for no reason at all.
No reason.
No reason, And
Tell them where you were, though.
I was coming down Martin Luther King, I think. I was coming
right
down.
At like 15.
Down.
100 miles an hour.
What happened?
That's not true.
I was not speeding.
What
happened was I was not speeding, but I had a headlight out.
Yep.
I had a headlight out and did not know. And I told him, I said, I didn't know, He's like, well, it might just be something, he goes up and hits the light and it comes on, magically. Can you believe that? It comes on. So, and we started talking and communicating, and I was actually headed to my office, and we, and we just connected then and stayed in touch, and we, and always, share stuff with each other, and then later on realizing who he was and knowing that for, him knowing my family who's been in law enforcement here forever, and everybody just knowing everybody. It's just, it's just funny how it was immediate connection.
Right. Yeah, we've never stopped talking since that
Never
day.
stopped talking since that day, and just, through the ups, downs, coming back, moving back, doing, it was just great. And I was so happy when you decided to go out and do this business. But going back to I just got my wooden nickel. I mean what? And people who don't know what I'm talking about, Well, first let me say this: how can people find you? Because I know we talked to Chase about it, but how can people find you? And what do you do for them?
So, again, at GeorgiaHatCompany.com or GA Hat Co.
Right.
GAHATCO.com. Either one will get you to our website. We do not have a retail store. However, if somebody local wants to come up to the barn and pick something up, they can call us
awesome.
At our local phone number, 706-541-8900. And then we have people come by often, and even though we don't have a retail store, and come by and say, hey, instead of being having my hats shipped. Can I just come by and pick them up?
How many people have come by in the last 2 days? Because I've been back and forth to the house, to y'all's house in Appleton, 2 times today, and I know when we were talking yesterday afternoon. So just in the last 48 hours, how many customers have come by the house?
Quite a few. Quite a few.
Several.
I'll tell you,
Right.
the community has been fantastic to us. We did not, when we started doing these hats for friends in recovery and stuff, we did not expect to go into business. I don't have a business mind. I have a law enforcement, a public safety mind.
But who does?
But my wife, his mother, Sandra, she does. And she's been with Maybaum for 30 years, and she's got a business mind. Without her, none of this would have happened. She is the backbone of the business, and she's the one that, keeps the wheels turning. So, it's just grown and grown and grown. And now, as of today, we have officially shipped hats to 30 states.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
30
funny you mentioned
states.
that about Mom, because we joke that my wife, Ann, we say that she owns everything and I'm just her employee. So I'm getting paid hourly, essentially.
Right.
I haven't made anything yet. I'm wondering when my first paycheck's coming. But it's only been 30 days in.
Well, I fully understand that because, in my situation with our cleaning business, Carlicia does everything. She does everything.
Yep.
She runs the cleaning business. She keeps it going. And with that, let me make an aimless plug for a second. If you need cleaning done at your house out here in the CSRA, feel free to find CGQ Cleaning on Facebook, or you can call 706-812-3317. We would love to clean your house, and we will bring a dumpster.
That's right. Clean it out.
Yes.
We could clean out that. You've been trying to clean that garage out. You've been trying to get all that crap out of there that your husband has piled up.
So let's segue. You plugged that. I'm going to mention you called the CSRA. So we were just talking off air. About the name.
Why River Region?
So I named the business initially. I was getting into trailer rental because I didn't have time to do dump trailers and dumpsters. A good friend of mine, Nick, one of my closest friends, had a dump trailer, and he was doing it on his off time, but it was taking up a lot of time. So I did not want to name the business whatever trailer rental because I didn't want to pigeonhole myself into trailers. I knew that eventually I wanted to expand. We're looking forward to getting more rental trailers, more dumpsters throughout this year, and eventually want to get into Connex, the intermodal containers.
Gotcha.
Equipment, property, whatever. Like, you need to rent something, let us know. We'll add it to the inventory. So as I was thinking about it, most of our businesses, most of our locally owned small businesses are CSRA this or Georgia Line of that. But I've noticed from listening to radio broadcasting, especially like WGAC News Talk, everything is in Augusta's River Region. Here in Augusta's River Region, this, that, and the third, Augusta's River Region. And I noticed that the Augusta Chamber of Commerce was heavily pushing that. On the Aiken side, obviously, you hear the Aiken-Augusta area. But I kept hearing Augusta's River Region. And being that, like y'all, I'm born and raised here, Damien's from across the river.
Right.
Everything is the CSRA for our whole life. But in the last 5 or 10 years, it seems like Augusta's River Region is becoming the new advertising moniker. And it's what chapters of various boards and things are being called, the Augusta's River Region chapter of this.
Right.
So when I was thinking of something that would tie into rentals, I liked the alliteration. It rolls off the tongue if you say it right, but otherwise it can be a mouthful. River Region Rentals, I figured, kind of stood for our community and demonstrated that it's Augusta, it's Aiken, it's North Augusta, it's Edgefield, it's Martinez, Evans, Appleton, the surrounding communities. I mean, I think it's 11 counties that make up the CSRA. Mm-hmm. But when you go outside of the CSRA, nobody knows what the CSRA is.
They have no clue what
People
it means.
are like, what is that? And you have to spell it out. But when you say, down in Augusta's River Region, well, I mean, that could be Martinez, that could be Evans, that could be. So I chose River Region because it seemed like it was the way that the CSRA was being described. And I kind of wanted to look forward, always forward, always.
So with that being said, let me go back to a different plug. If you are in the River Region and you are looking for some cleaning, contact CGQ Cleaning. Carlicia can come out. She does several homes in community businesses. Check her out. That's my aimless plug again. Carlicia at CGQ Cleaning, 706. I tell you, she runs my business. She runs everything. I mean, and runs me crazy as well. 706-812-33. Y'all laughing. Y'all understand.
No, because we understand.
Got you. 706-812-3317. And if you got to get cleaning done and you need a big and you need a big dumpster in your yard, you can call you Chase,
Yeah, we
right?
got 4 different sizes, small to large. We haul it all.
Yeah, we haul it all. One call and we come haul. That's we come up with something.
We got to be close. We got to be careful.
You got to be careful on that. Now, I know you have your hats, and you have, but what if I'm a church? What if I'm a school? What if I'm a business? Can you do anything?
That's a great question. So we have been doing some custom hats in the past. We're very blessed in the fact that our brand, Georgia Hat Company, is growing rapidly.
Yeah.
And with it just being me and Sandra that are decorating all of these hats, we've had to step back from the custom hats.
Wow.
Because it's just all we can do to keep up the orders that are coming in for Georgia Hat Company. We've got some pretty popular influencers that are wearing them, which has helped tremendously.
Yeah.
And so the answer to that question is we will be able to start doing some custom hats probably in the fall again because we're going to be expanding in the barn with some more production, some bigger machines, and with our first employees coming on board in the fall. So, but for right now, it's just the Georgia Hat Company line that we're doing, and we will be doing custom stuff again. So I encourage anybody to follow us on social media at Georgia Hat Company, and you'll see when we start ramping things up more.
Because I'm excited because I want some custom stuff. I love custom things.
Put it this way: I asked to get some custom stuff done. As you see, what I'm wearing. He's made me learn how to do it and made me do it myself.
That's what I did. I told him I didn't have time, Mike. So I told him, I said, you come up here.
Fortunately, my mom looks out for me. She'll embroider my shirts and my hats. But if I want patches sewn and stuff like that, he literally showed me how to do it. I was like, here you go.
What's wrong with that?
That's exactly right. He brought a dumpster for me to clean out a lot of stuff out of the barn and made me throw all the stuff in the dumpster.
That's true.
Yeah,
He didn't do it.
That's exactly right.
I was too busy running them.
Oh, well.
I ran 4 today.
Listen, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a good problem to have. So getting back to the business side and the family side, is it a tough being two totally different industries, or do y'all have a level of time that y'all actually get a chance to cross and be able to be helpful to each other?
So in the dumpster runner community, which I've traveled a few times now, I've been to 3 or 4 different events. Every time I'm usually rocking some of my own branded stuff. And I've had people ask, and I've given some people some freebies, gotten shouted out, and I've had a few people that are in the industry, whether they're dumpster runners or the website guys or some finance guys who want to know where I got it done. And several of them have reached out and looked at getting custom inquiries. On top of that, I mean, it leaves us the amount of time that although our brands exist in different verticals, when we start doing some podcasting and some content creation to try to promote the brand, I told them, I said, even though y'all don't know it yet, y'all are going to be the sponsors of my content.
Right.
So just to try to do some cross promotion, really. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing to me.
And I think it's so important and no different than us, I shared the Georgia Hat Company stuff. We went on a tear when we were trying to get those numbers up, in reference to likes on Facebook and follows. And I think it's so important when you have people that you truly trust in who they are, because your brand is only as good as you.
Yeah.
You don't mind going out on that limb because it's not a crappy hat. It's a wonder. These are great. That's why I wear it. This is you have tailor-made this company in reference to the dumpster part, to where, like I told you, it's the state trooper, it's the Georgia State Patrol of dumpsters. I see these things around. If you don't believe me, what's the page? What's the Facebook page again?
At River Region Rentals LLC.
Right, and go to that page. Look at those dumpsters. I'm not talking. This ain't no crap.
They're clean. They're not rusty. They don't smell like dirty diapers and rotten milk. We clean them regularly.
They're white dumpsters.
They're white. Think how hard it is to keep a white
dumpster.
Right, and he did that specifically. I asked him, I said, why did you pick white dumpsters? He said, because they're harder to clean.
Right. And
forces me to hold the standard.
Right. There's a level of standard there, but not only with the dumpster, but with the level of service. And the same thing goes for the hat company. Same thing goes for the River Region Rentals. There's a level of service that happens because of who you are and what you believe in. Listen, Mike Meyers filling in for the vacation Austin Rhodes on the Austin Rhodes Show. We'll be back after this break. We're back. Mike Meyers filling in for the vacation Austin Rhodes on the Austin Rhodes Show. with 2 local business owners. All together, we make up 3 local business owners that are here in this community, trying to make a difference and bring a little sunshine and I guess in Chase's case, move some trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, get some trash out.
Hauling trash and talking junk.
Hauling trash and talking junk. Listen, when we were off the air. Now wait, before we go any further,
Okay.
I don't want to get in any trouble. Who do we need to make sure we shout out and say hello to? I don't want.
Oh, my grandma was upset that I didn't refer to her as my Mimi. I've never called her my grandma. So she sent me a text and she was like, "Your grandma?"
Yeah.
So my Mimi.
She said grandma makes her sound old.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you make sure you.
She's hip. She's young.
You
She's
don't.
cool.
I mean, listen. Mimi is Texan. I'm happy. Listen.
Listen, she is the most technologically savvy senior citizen you'll ever meet.
So you just called her senior.
Oh, you called her.
She'll tell
Hey,
you that.
I'm
Listen.
stepping.
No,
Mama,
so listen.
I didn't say that.
So listen,
Okay.
I don't
she'll
know
tell you
what
this.
that is.
So she'll have like an HVAC tech or something out to her house, and they'll think that the only thing she can do is write a check or something like that, like she's 1,000 years old. At University Hospital, she was on the board that implemented the electronic record keeping. So she had a Palm Pilot in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh, you're
where you-
really sucking up now.
Yeah.
So she's the type. She's all about tap to pay, Apple Pay.
Yeah,
She's
I
like,
love
boom,
that.
done.
I love that. I love that. And for those people that are listening, one of the things that we talked about and how this conversation came up was because there have been some neighborhoods and churches that have reached out to you because one thing is being able to keep a clean community. I know Chase well. He hates litter. You hate garbage. You hate these things. Part of the reason why you got this business going, but people who are looking for something else or a way around some things. How can a community use somebody like you?
So that's a really good topic to bring up. So Dr. Marilyn Bennett is the HOA president of a neighborhood around here, and she and I got the first discussion about an HOA dump day.
Wow.
So
That's a
what
good
we decided
idea.
is people are paying their HOA dues, and a lot of those dues are just sitting. They're not being used regularly. So we were trying to work on an idea that we could present to the community to help clean up neighborhoods and apartment complexes and HOAs. And it's something that you and I have discussed. So what we want to do is try to work with HOAs and neighborhood organizations and churches for community cleanup days.
Listen, we're going to get back on this because this is very interesting. I want to make sure we talk about this the way we should because a lot of people who may be thinking about some stuff may be ready. Listen, Mike Meyers filling in for vacation, Austin Rhodes on the Austin Rhodes Show. We'll be back after this break. Mike Meyers in for the vacation, Austin Rhodes on the Austin Rhodes Show here with 2 local legends, the Georgia Hat Company and the River Region Rentals. What's wrong with that? Okay, just one legend, and I guess we can make up another legend ourselves together.
One day
We'll get to
Hope
that
to be.
place. But listen, we were having a great conversation right before we went off for that break, and we're talking about HOAs and businesses or churches, and I think about me. I pastor a church, and I think about the amount of stuff that I can find in the closet. And with an HOA, this is a good thing. I mean, you can have like this. I'm thinking about like a neighborhood having this big community cleanup, and you bring all the stuff you don't want instead of people sitting on the side of the road or throwing it somewhere, or a neighborhood that may not, I guess have everything they need. What can be done? And what is something we're talking about this? I mean,
Yeah, so community cleanup days I think are important, and I don't know if they're done enough. You got HOAs, you got neighborhood community organizations. Obviously, you've got churches and things like that. So, how many times have you driven through a neighborhood and just seen food and drinks and wrappers and stuff just thrown out the window on the side of the roads?
Right.
So. And eventually the wind blows them up against the green box and it accumulates, up against shrubbery and stuff like that. So shout out to Dr. Marilyn Bennett again. She's the one that I had my first conversation with about community cleanup days. We called it dump days. And what the idea we came up with is, how can we as a community here in Augusta's River Region get with HOAs and neighborhood organizations and churches and provide value for members of the community, members of church congregations and things like that, where we can provide dumpsters for cleanup and for dump days that individuals don't have to pay for. So like if you may or may not need a whole dumpster, or you may or may not be able to afford a full dumpster rental, but if we can put one in the neighborhood for a day or a weekend or something like that, and everybody has free access to clean up, we can help work together and making our community a little bit cleaner.
Right, and it's so important. We're talking about working together, and when we talk about this, and somebody who's been he's been in business a little longer than you have. It's so important that as a community we work together. And we kind of talked about this a bit, but why is it important that we do this, especially for companies like ours that are homegrown, that are in our backyards, out in our barns, we're pulling it on our truck. Why is that so important?
Well, I look at it as from where we got our start. We wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for this community right here. When I say that we have shipped to 30 states, a lot of that has to do with our local community members supporting us, buying hats from us, and sending them to members of their family in different states as gifts or things like this, and then they find out about us and they order more from there. It travels so wide with the support you get. So, for instance, we have so many people that will like us on social media. I always encourage everyone, even if you're not, in the market to buy a hat or get a dumpster, you don't need cleaning services right here at this moment.
It's free to share.
Right. One of the things that you can do that helps a local business so much is just like their social media page. Maybe periodically share something, invite some of your friends to it. That really helps a business with it's like a web. It just crawls out further and further and further.
For sure.
It's like this week alone, we've had orders come in from Brooklyn, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco. And when we started the business and named it Georgia Hat Company, to be honest with you, I didn't know if we would ever have, people ordering from such far distances away.
Outside of Georgia,
right. So, it's very, very important. And I do have to say this, because y'all been talking a lot about litter, and this has been going on in my head. The reason that Chase and our other kids are so what's the word I'm looking for? Upset about litter is because of my wife, their mom. She used to sing them a song, litter bug, shame on you. One of these days the world's going to turn on you. And so I think that's been in his head all those years. That's why, when he walks across a parking lot, you're going to see Chase. He's always been like this. He's going to pick up the trash and he's going to dispose of it.
Got you. Yeah, and for those that want to ask questions, don't forget 706-863-5800 is our text line. Text in your question, and that'd be helpful. Somebody asking a question. Chase. If I want to get a dumpster, how do I do that? And what all can I put into a dumpster?
So for the time being, I'm doing everything by phone and by email. When the website goes live, it'll be it's essentially, I don't want to say what website it is, but we'll be able to get you a dumpster lined up within a couple of minutes, just laying in your bed, playing on your phone.
Gotcha.
Right now, I'm doing everything by phone, 706-622-3763.
Say that one more time.
706-622-3763. But so the basic premise is call, text, email. We'll get you lined up, scheduled for a date and time and location that works for you. Have to have an adult present at drop off. That way we make sure we put it in the right place. We don't damage driveways. We avoid septic tanks. Speaking of damaging driveways, one thing that we've got that we're really proud of is a product called Rolly Skate, which is a roll-off container specific underlayment system for driveway surface protection. So what we do with that is we make sure we put it exactly where you want it, leave it for how long you want it, and then we bill on the disposal based on a pay for only what you use pricing model. So instead of including tonnage and padding that price into our margins, what we do is we charge you only for what you pay by the pound.
Got you. So there's no set price then. It's based on what you have going on.
Yeah. So we bill 3 cents per pound for inert yard waste for recyclables. And I say recyclables because inert yard waste, so long as it's separated, we're able to recycle it. 6 cents a pound for construction and demolition debris, and 9 cents a pound for municipal solid waste. So anything that would go in the trash, basically.
Gotcha.
So $2.99 is what we start at for a dumpster delivered up to 24 hours. $49 a day after that. Keep it as long as you need it. You know, some projects people can complete in 6 hours. Some people take 6 days. So instead of locking you into 3 days or 7 days or 14 days, we try to keep our prices low initially so that you can custom tailor the length of time and the scope of, you know, the needs for your project.
Somebody asked a question. They said, has Georgia Hat Company tried Velcro patches?
No, but you know what?
We've discussed
That's a
it.
great idea. We have discussed it because in law enforcement, a lot of the tactical hats would have Velcro patches. So
Pull a flag,
the answer
whatever.
to that question is thank you for that question, and I need to bring that back to the front burner, and you will see those soon.
Well, that's great. I think that's a great idea. I would love to have because the hat, you know, like the one I have on, it's absolutely comfortable. You know, I like, and you're talking to a guy who wears a hat 90% of the time.
You got to shade that bald head from the sun.
Listen, I got to keep this beautiful bald head
Shiny,
out of the. Am I right,
luscious.
Mama Michelle? I mean, what do you think about that? Absolutely right. And I keep it out of the sun. And, you know, I love the way the hat feels, you know, but what if I want to put a big, beautiful M on the front of this for Mike, you know, or what if I want to change out this and put a River Region Rentals.
Just slap it on there.
I want to be able to slap it on. You know, that's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
And, you know, that one's water repellent. I don't know if you noticed that.
No.
Yeah, that's a water repellent.
This is perfect. I'm headed to Mexico. So this
you go.
is going to be perfect.
We
It's
need
going to
some
be perfect.
pictures of you in Mexico with
Hey,
your Georgia hat.
shout it
company.
out.
Shout it out from Mexico. I got to make sure, listen, I'm going to make sure I throw it in the bag so that I can take a picture standing up somewhere in Mexico. And you say, hey, this Georgia Hat Company hat has made it all the way to Mexico.
Have y'all had any go to Mexico yet?
Yeah, we have.
Okay, well, it won't be the first.
But not yours.
But not mine.
He said that's
On
a
that
one of one.
head.
This is one of one right here. This is one of one. Listen, this is Mike Meyers filling in for the vacation Austin Rhodes on the Austin Rhodes Show. Y'all got to stick around because this hour is about to get hot with my guests that are coming in behind me. Mike Meyers filling in for vacation Austin Rhodes on the Austin Rhodes Show. We'll be back right after this break. Mike Meyers back on for the vacation Austin Rhodes. One of my guests for the next part is here. I'm excited. I'm waiting on my other guests to get in. This next part is going to be off the chain. But I still have my guests here, and we're in this last segment. A few things because I've had people sending me questions, so I want to make sure I get those done. You know, if somebody wants to get a hat besides getting that wooden nickel that you pass out, how else can they get in contact with you about getting a hat?
They can call the shop at 706-541-8900 or visit us at georgiahatcompany.com or gahatco.com or go to social media and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm even going to start dabbling on TikTok.
No. Please don't get it.
No.
Chase,
Maybe
do
the
not.
next influencer.
Do not
Oh, my
let your
goodness.
dad get a TikTok page. But
It's because of bad dad.
But listen, if he does, he's going to be super popular. He's going to be super popular on TikTok, man.
People send me links all the time, and I can't even watch it because I've never downloaded the app. And you used to be able to click it, open in browser, hit unmute, and watch it. I can't even do it.
Yeah.
Like now, it like forces you to try to
Yeah,
download
And
so-
it.
seeing an old man with a gray beard behind a sewing machine, wouldn't that be?
That would be
I mean, if
pretty
that's what
interesting.
you're into.
I mean, if you're into that kind of thing, But and so another question that they're asking about the dumpster, and somebody asked me, hold on, let me click over here. Could I have the number for the roll-off dumpster? So give them that number again. Say it slowly enough and say it a couple of times so people can get that.
Sure, number 706-622-3763. That's 706-622-3763.
Right. So if you are in need of a dumpster, you make sure you contact Chase. If you want one of these beautiful Georgia Hat Company hats. What's wrong? What,
Nah.
you don't like my. You
Talking
don't,
about pristine, just talking about the dumpster. That's,
need to talk about the dumpsters?
my neighbor jokingly referred to them, since they're white, as white trash.
Right. the dumpsters.
Yeah.
That's funny. If you got to get your hat, get your dumpster, and let me another plug. But if you need to send somebody to throw that stuff away for you in that dumpster, make sure you contact CGQ Cleaning. 706-812-3317. They do a great job cleaning up places. Before we get out of here, let me take a moment. Thank you guys for coming in. It means a lot. It means a lot to me because I called and you came. It means a whole lot to me that y'all would take time out of your schedule. I know you. I talk to you. We talk often. You're running up and down.
I was going to say this feels no different than a phone conversation.
I never normal conversation, but you stop most time. You're hauling dumpsters, dropping off, doing things like that, and I appreciate that. But any last things you want to say before we get out of here? I thank y'all for coming in.
I got something.
Pops, I thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Michael. We appreciate it. It's our honor to come and just great to spend some time with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to kind of align our schedules and be able to spend some time together in person as opposed to on phone. But I know this may sound weird. I want to shout out two of my local competitors, if you will, that are great friends of mine. So Ryan Edwards with Rhino Roll-Off Services and a good buddy of mine, Laban Davis with Junk Empire Junk Removal. So he offers full service junk removal where Ryan and I just do dumpster rentals. I could not have gotten started on this journey without the help of both of them. We were talking off the air a little while ago. I met Laban similar to how I met you. I got out with him at a rest area on the interstate with a flat tire. Just got out with him and checked on him. He was pumping up a tire, and I said, "Oh, you do dumpster rentals?" He said, "Yeah, I've got a junk removal company." And Ryan's wife is my barber, and she says that I talk to my bro friend more than she does because we'll talk 3 or 4 times a day, passing each other opposite direction. So without either one of these guys, with their advice and their support and their encouragement, where my dad was making fun of me for getting stuck in my backyard not long ago, and the very first thing I had to do was pick up the phone and call my competitor and say, "Hey, I'm stuck. Can you come help me?" So while it's friendly competition in the spirit of capitalism, we talk and communicate regularly and work together cooperatively, and we collaborate, and we like to help each other out. So it's not all about us and me. It's about community and support and taking care of each other and looking out for each other and helping each other out.
Listen, thank y'all so much for that. Thank you so much for everything. Those that are looking for a hat, Georgia Hat Company, those that are looking for your dumpster, River Region Rentals, those looking for just some good people to know and be a part of your life and have a great relationship with. These are 2 great companies.